Hello, Internet. It is I, whatever you want to call me. You clicked on this video for a breakdown of one of Parker's more recent videos, where he debated a MAGA guy, and I just had to do a breakdown because people in the comments were saying, "Oh, this just flew over my head. This just blah da 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 da." It almost made it sound like the other guy had an actual argument when really he had nothing. In the first couple seconds of this video, you're gonna see what kind of people we're dealing with, and in my experience, this is a large portion of the MAGA movement is like this. Not necessarily just like this guy where he feels like he's so intellectual about it, but the blatant disregard for morality and ethics in favor of some amorphous concept of Donald Trump being some sort of good politician, like he has good policies. Honestly, you could maybe name one policy that Trump has actually put in place that benefited anyone other than himself. And me personally, I couldn't name it because I'm not really worried about that. I'm worried about the hundreds of other unspeakable crimes against humanity. But who am I anyway? Let's get into this.
Yeah, probably a multitude of reasons, but I just wanted to quickly point something out that you always make this claim oh, Trump is really bad for making let's say for example, some sort of comment about his daughter, but I don't see how that's an issue within your paradigm if you don't have grounding for something being immoral or something like that. So go ahead.
So you don't think I have the ability to have morals?
Yeah, so right off the bat, this guy tries to immediately poison the well and just absolutely just come in like a goddamn AC 130, uh, so he just comes in. He's like, well, you see, I don't see how you can criticize Trump when you don't have morals. That's such a dishonest way to start a conversation. Wow, I'm just.
No, I didn't say that. That's a straw man. I just said I don't see how
So,
you can have grounding for them.
by the way, that's not a straw man. That's a clarifying question.
No, no, you didn't ask a clarifying question. You
I
just said
did.
so you don't think I have morals.
That's a
You made a
question.
statement.
That's a clarifying question, genius. Okay, so
Okay, wait.
And by the way, he's gonna claim that he doesn't that he doesn't actually mean that. But then later on in the conversation, he's literally gonna come back and say you you can't have morals.
so
And you
by
should
the way,
clarify
I
that.
can identify that things are moral and immoral. Are you?
Yeah, how
What is the
so?
reason why you think that I can't
Wait,
establish a
wait, wait,
basis
hold
for
on. Why
that?
are we burden shifting? Yeah, because if you don't have grounding for something, like saying oh, this is wrong, but then you say, oh, well, why is this going to be wrong? I just think it just
So he is under the assumption that the only thing that can prescribe morality is some sort of deity, and that in and of itself is really showing a huge level of ignorance.
it's going to be an appeal to emotion or something like that at the end of the day. So unless you have some sort of sufficient reason or grounding for it, I see no reason why you should make some sort of hypocritical comment saying, oh yeah, Trump is very wrong for doing this or that, when you have no grounding for saying something's moral.
I do think I have grounding. I think the way that you're using grounding is by saying morality is subjective. Therefore, there's no grounding. Is that your view?
Yeah,
What's your
no,
argument for
no.
that? That because it's subjective, that means that there's no grounding.
Wait, what do you take subjective to be here, real quick?
Yeah, it's going to be dependent upon a stance. True dependent upon a stance.
Yeah, so if we take it to be the case, that this stance is just going to be person dependence, it's just gonna be up to the person to depend whether or not this is going to be moral or not, then yeah, I would take it to be the case that somebody doesn't have sufficient reasoning to ground that. If it's
So if I heard him correctly, he just said it depends on the person whether it's moral or not.
not going to be objectively wrong.
Okay, so you think that you can only have sufficient reasoning if morality is subjective. Therefore, if morality is subjective, that means it has no grounding or it's hypocritical to make claims about what's right and
No, no.
wrong.
Wait, I would take it to be the case
Wait,
that
so wait, were
if you
you arguing that it was
disclose grounding.
hypocritical of me to argue that I think something is wrong within the context of subjective morality? Is that your argument?
Yeah, sure, yeah, I can
Okay.
go with that.
By the way, morality being subjective does not mean I'm hypocritical for saying that someone did something wrong. It just means there's a description of my psychological preference about morality. So I think that you saying it's
Right.
hypocritical
Okay,
is
great.
not.
So if
But let
it's
me
your
please finish. Can I?
psychological.
Yeah, I don't think that dude understood a single word he was saying, and so he's trying to shift the conversation into a lower IQ topic. because he perfectly eloquently described the actual like almost the metaphysical components of his argument that he's describing his preference of morality. Oh my gosh, this guy.
Please finish, please.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I think saying that I'm hypocritical in that situation is objectively false, right? Like I'm not being hypocritical there just by saying that someone is wrong. There's nothing inconsistent about saying that you believe in subjective morality and saying that you think people are wrong about things. Like there's nothing wrong with that. It's just a description of my preference. And
Wait,
then
what,
also
someone
like,
can be
do you
morally
think that
wrong
morality
in
is
subjective
objective?
morality? I would take it to be the case that for morality to be 100% correct, yeah, I would need to be like objective. Yeah.
Okay, what does objective mean?
It's gonna be like stance independently true.
Okay, stance independently true. So, do you think that, or do you believe in God? I'm assuming you do.
Yeah.
Here comes the bombshell.
Okay. Do you believe that morality would be true if God did not exist?
No.
So that's not stance independently true. It relies upon God's stance.
If you can't be good without a God telling you to, then you're not a good person. You're a bad person on a leash. I saw that in the comment section, and I agree 100% wholeheartedly.
No, because I'll take it to be the case that like the independent stance from the person is just going to be God, right? Like for example, like when we say like,
Wait, so by the way, you say independent stance from a person, but let me clarify. You don't think God is a personal being?
no, like when I take person here, I mean like human, but like I'm not talking about God here. When I say like it's gonna be stance independent from like a human person,
Oh,
that the
okay. I think
person
that's
is going.
embarrassing though. So like if an
Wait,
alien
how
says
so?
something's true about morality, you're saying that's objective?
Wait, how does that follow?
They're
Wait,
not
do aliens
human.
have like a
They're not
wait, do they
human.
have wait, hold on. I'm taking God to be like a being with like the triomni properties. Do aliens have like triomni properties?
Triomni properties. This dude. First of all, if you know anything about fiction, there are aliens with triomni properties, okay? That's omnipresence, you know the ones.
So, okay, so you're saying only an individual with
Wait, do
triomni
aliens
properties
hold
can
on.
identify morality to
Omniscience.
be objective. By the way, that doesn't mean
Yeah.
it's objective. You're still saying it's stance dependent. You're just saying it's dependent upon God's stance. So by the way,
No,
that's
it's gonna
I just
be
want to clarify with
human
you.
stance independent.
I just want to clarify with you. Based upon your way of using the term, you might not consider it subjective, but under my way of using the term, it is subjective. It is stance dependently true because I'm not
Yeah, so
using this
what's
thing
gonna
where I
be
have to
like the
like add
motivation?
humans to the end. I don't do that. So I just say stance dependent or stance independently true. And clearly in this context, it'd be stance dependently true because it's dependent upon God's stance. Therefore, right, there's no basis or no difference in grounding between my perspective and your perspective
Wait, how so? Wait,
because they're
what's the
both
wait?
subjective.
Wait, how is mine subjective? If
Yeah,
I'm
because
gonna
it's
take
dependent.
How is mine subjective? I'm backed up by a deity. Like, what? Yeah, but we're talking hypothetically, dude. Like, this is a number one indicator, man. If people can't deviate from their own worldview in a hypothetical situation, they're low IQ. They don't live in the real world, okay? Like, they fabricate in their mind their own ideas of reality. It's really sad, actually.
And upon God's stance.
No. God's stance is just gonna be eternal though, so it's not really going to be like some sort of like subjective understanding of what God's like
Him
stance
being
is.
eternal doesn't mean it's objective. That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, so when I take it to be the case, something's like going to be objectively, like morally true. So when I say like, okay, God is 100% objectively true, right? Or objectively moral, or something like that. Okay.
Hmm.
I'll take it to be the case that it's just going to be like unchanging truth.
Okay.
And like, for example, can your morality change?
Yeah, and so can God's, and God's has.
Wait. How do you know what my God is?
You believe in the Christian God, correct?
No, I'm a deist.
Okay, if you don't understand, basically a deist believes that there is a God, but but it's none of the known gods, and it doesn't really interact much. Honestly, no. What it really means is, I believe there is a God, and I'm gonna make up whatever bullshit I feel like to justify pretty much anything, because there is a God, and this God that I personally believe in justifies my personal morality that I'm thought up, and you can't disprove it because you can't be me and I can't be you, and you know nobody can understand each other. It's like that Madara fucking Uchiha bullshit. Like, you know what I'm talking about.
Oh, okay. You're a deist guy? Really?
Yeah.
Deists don't prescribe certain notions of morality. You don't even know. How do you know what your deist god prescribed in terms of morality?
Yeah, wait, because I could take it to be the case that like these morals are just gonna be like upheld within like the natural view because I'm a naturalist.
Okay. So can I just say the same thing?
Yeah, so like
And
what's
then I
gonna
do
be the
have
motivation?
grounding. So I.
Then what's
By
gonna
the
be
way,
the
like,
motivation?
I
Wait, then
to
we
be
would have
totally
the
honest
same
with you,
understanding of
there's
morality.
no relevant difference between our views that would be able to establish yours to have more grounding than mine. This is just such an embarrassing argument, especially when you're a deist. A deist isn't involved. The deist god's
I
not
understand
involved
that,
with the
yeah.
world. So how could it make moral prescriptions about the world when it's not involved with the world?
Wait, I'm not saying that they're making moral prescriptions. I'm saying that like these like moral outliers are just going to be like or outliers are just going to be like relevant within like naturalism.
Okay, so can naturalism be true if you don't believe in God?
No, because I would say that these prescriptions of like naturalism are just going to be like dependent on God because He
Why?
created the natural world or something like that.
Couldn't I say that a state that is not a personal being created the natural world that is natural? Right, the rest of
Wait,
the natural world, I mean. Like there's an eternal state that existed that is a fundamental particle, for example, that explains all the rest of reality.
yeah, you would have to provide an argument for that.
Well, I mean, I don't think you have an argument for deism. So I'm an atheist. I'm an agnostic atheist, meaning I don't know what the explanation is, and I don't believe it's a God. So
Wait, yeah.
I,
Like, do you want me to give you, like an
I just like
argument for God?
I don't know what. By the
Do
way,
you
like
want me to give you an
I don't
argument for
have.
God?
I just want to clarify. I don't have an issue with deism. I don't. I
Okay.
don't at all. I just don't have an argument to justify it. And even so, like if I'm a deist or an
Oh
atheist,
my god.
I don't think there's any distinction in the way that I ground
Parker,
my
mic
morals or
moment.
ethics.
Yeah, wait. So, do you want me to give an argument for God then? Because you're saying that like, oh, your
Okay.
motivation.
The argument for God doesn't matter because we're trying to engage in the. Oh, I don't know how these guys do it. I don't know how they keep their composure like this. I guess it's just repeat over and over again. They've done it so many times. But yeah. So it doesn't matter. He's not interested in an argument for God because the point isn't to convince Parker that you're right through converting him to deism. Okay, it's not gonna happen. It'll never happen. We're trying to engage in a world where morality is not necessarily tied to God. Because think about it. There have been many religions that have come and been wiped out throughout the ages, okay? Nobody really still believes in the Roman gods or the Greek gods or, you know, or the Norse gods. No one really believes in that shit. And if they do, it's like because they live in some like backwater crack of humanity where civilization managed to miss. And I'm not saying it's 100% a bad thing, but it's probably they probably shouldn't vote. But regardless, I just think that yeah, God. It doesn't morality. We don't need to bring God into it. There's morality without God. Like when you look at an atheist, you're actually not looking at a soulless husk of a human being that has no future or humanity or anything like that. Like honestly, like in the Christian case, you would think that a loving God would accept an atheist who loved that neighbor and who genuinely helped his fellow man into heaven, right? You would think that, but I mean, I don't know. These Christians don't seem to think that.
For this.
I'm just gonna be
There's
totally
no
honest with you. I
distinction.
don't really care about a deist god. If you want to provide an argument, go for it. I just don't think it's very relevant
Wait, how is it not relevant? Because you were like you made a
because
proposition saying that
they
like
don't
yeah,
make
I could just say
prescriptions.
that
They
like
don't make prescriptions about morality. By the way, we're having a conversation about your deist understanding of morality rather than like why you support Trump because you said that I can't make a determination that Donald Trump making comments to his daughter is wrong.
I'm
That's
saying
what you
within your
said.
paradigm,
Yeah, it is crazy how we had to really
you can't
Wait,
like
can
do
I,
some
under
mental
my paradigm, can I
gymnastics to
say that
get
it's wrong?
past saying
yeah, but
that
you won't know
Oh,
that
Donald
wait,
though.
okay,
Trump
so to
is
clarify,
So
I
it's not
can
gonna
say that's
follow.
wrong. So,
Wait, it's gonna be valid, but it's just gonna be false. It won't follow because you
what?
don't.
it's gonna be valid, but it's just gonna be false. This is the IQ level of people we're dealing with here. It's like you might be right, but you're still wrong. Are you? It's the fascist ideology to believe two things at the same time. Your enemy is strong. Your enemy is weak. Yeah.
Any sort of understanding of what wrong is.
I
Like you could
do.
make that.
See, again, he comes back and he says you don't have any understanding of what wrong is, and he assumes this because he's an atheist. Oh,
You
I
can denote
do,
that.
but
You
like,
say,
what is your criticism of it in its entirety?
yeah. So like, what's the yeah? So my criticism is just going to be like you could say like,
Let's
yeah, this is
assume.
going to be
Okay, how
wrong.
about this? Can we assume for 1 second we have the same grounding? Because I think the meta-ethical
Okay.
grounding of the perspective is irrelevant to which perspective you hold within morality. Let's talk about why you hold one view versus another one. Okay? Do you think it's wrong to make comments towards your daughter?
Yeah.
Okay, we agree.
we could have started with that, but instead he's like, well, you see, I just don't understand how you can say that it's wrong when clearly, you don't know what wrong is. I just don't understand how you can be the ultimate moral arbiter of truth when you don't even believe in some god that like I made up. Oh,
We agree. No argument has to be made in order to say that. Given that you agree that making comments to your daughter is wrong, how do you feel about Trump doing that?
Yeah, I would say that that's wrong, right? But
Okay,
that's
so when Donald Trump has been held civilly liable for women, when he bragged about walking into the changing rooms and women while they're changing without consent, where an 18-year-old came out, so there were 4 girls in these changing rooms, when he said he would date in 10 years, when he bragged about grabbing women by the
yeah,
asking,
the reason
when
why I
26
support
plus
Trump,
people accused him of misconduct, why is that not enough reason for you to say that you don't support him anymore?
because I think that his other policies are better. Like,
and they'll never be able to name a single one. And if they do, it'll be like deportating the damn criminals. There's been more ICE shootings in the first month of this year than there were in the entirety of Joe Biden's presidency. I'll just say that.
Okay, so you're willing to overlook the fact that he's a woman because of the fact that you like his policies?
I think that his policies are more beneficial than like the other candidates. Yeah.
So you're willing to overlook the that he engaged in and all of the harmful actions I just mentioned because you like his policy. Is that it?
Yeah, hold on. Let me just give you an example real quick, right? So let's say, for example, within this like hypothetical that like Kamala's policies were absolutely
Kamala.
atrocious. Kamala's policies were absolutely atrocious, right?
He doesn't know a single Kamala policy. Honestly, neither do I. I wasn't like a huge Kamala, or I did it too. Kamala supporter. But we got to do what we got to do to defeat the Don.
Right. And then we had Trump, who is like a felon or something like that, but has probably the best policies you could ever want. Now, we would take it to be the case that it would be more parsimonious to just like accept Trump because he would better the future of society than let's say, for example, Kamala or something like that, right? Because she would run us straight into the ground, right? Within that hypothetical.
Is it just that he's a felon, or
What would she do to run us into the ground faster than Trump has? I genuinely, I don't know if there was a quicker route to running us into the ground. I mean, we are cooked beyond belief. Like, ooh.
all the things that I said about him?
Just that he's a felon or something like that.
Okay, well, I don't hold the felony at the same level in which I hold and the claims
Okay,
that he
well,
made about and bragging about walking into the changing rooms, women while
I
they're
never
changing without
specified
consent.
that
I don't
felony.
hold the
Being best friends with Jeffrey Epstein.
falsifying business records anywhere near the same degree.
Right, but you're still over like you didn't. This isn't like an answer to my like hypothetical that I gave you, right? Because I'm asking you whether or not like if we had like a horrible like candidate with like horrible propositions
Well,
or
in that context, I would vote for what you said. Horrible. No, that's different than what you said. You said felon. Okay, so if they're just a felon
No,
and they
I'm
have
talking
significantly
about the
better policy,
policies.
I would support the felon with significantly better policy. But the
Okay,
reality of the
great.
matter is that I'm not just referencing his felonies. I didn't even bring up his felonies. I talked about him being held civilly liable. I talked about him saying you did in 10 years. I talked about him admitting to engaging in women by saying he grabs women by the without asking. I talked about him
Okay.
specifically, right, doing all of those things, and you didn't mention a single one of those things. You mentioned the felony. So if all of those things were
I
not
said-
true,
wait, I
or
never
Kamala Harris,
specified
and I
the
disagreed with
felony.
Kamala Harris's policy.
Look, it doesn't even, honestly, in my opinion, it doesn't even matter if he was joking or not. That is just not the conduct of a president, like in almost any capacity ever. You can say people change, people have a dark history, yeah, yada, yada, yada. So, no. Okay? Yeah, people can change. There has to be evidence and accountability, though. Yeah, no, that's something that has never ever been provided to Trump or for Trump. So
Hold on.
I would just not vote.
Hold on. I could just take felony here to be like some sort of like wrongdoing legally or something like that. Like we would both agree that he did something wrong legally, right? To those women, etc.
Wait, so I
see
can
how he's making a distinction between legally and morally? Because I know I like it is true legality is not a perfect representation of morality, but it is definitely a guideline. Usually, mm, it's debatable these days for sure, but he's like trying to draw these distinctions, these little slips in the knot where he can get through without, where he can say messed up stuff without sounding like absolutely psychotic. But he just doesn't realize he still sounds psychotic.
think there was a huge distinction between doing something wrong legally and so
Okay,
if we're
is that
referencing
legally
those,
wrong?
if we're
Is that
referencing,
Weaselly little lie.
there's a reason why I wouldn't vote in that context.
Hold on. Is that legally wrong?
Is what legally wrong? Yes.
Okay, so what's the symmetry breaker from when I said that,
What's the
like, let's say,
symmetry
for example,
breaker?
doing something legally wrong here, and what you said?
Because it depends on what legal violation it was. Like, do you think all
Yeah,
legal
and I never
violations?
specified,
Hold
so it
up,
doesn't
pause.
really matter.
Do you think all legal violations are of equivalent moral value?
No.
Okay, you just conceded. So, can I
Wait,
specify?
how is that a concession? What?
Because I refer to as a different violation specifically than just any other violation of the law. So can you just
Okay,
admit,
well, I
like,
said,
hey, listen, I'll tell you one more time. If all the things I just mentioned were true about Trump and Harris's policies were so bad it would harm the country, right, I would specifically not vote in that context.
yeah, so, like, that's why I said I don't support Trump for those specific reasons. So that's just going to be, like, an irrelevant thing, or that's going to be, like, arbitrary to my argument because I'm saying that his policies are good.
So yeah, you're just willing to overlook his policies, but you never gave me an argument that would necessitate
Wait,
that I
I'm
believe
willing
the
to
same
overlook
thing.
his policies?
So can I ask you
What?
this
When did I
question?
say that? I
If it
just said
was
I'm willing to overlook his policies.
no,
Did you, like,
I meant
call
to
it
say
blunder?
overlook his character. I
Okay.
apologize because of his policies. That's what I meant to say. Obviously, that's not what I was
Okay, you're good.
mentioning. So let me clarify. If it was with Donald Trump's policies versus Kamala Harris, who would you rather vote for?
What's the contention?
Yeah, that was
He
my reaction as well.
people at mass and committed a. Okay, I'm just kicking them. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
What do you mean? What's the contention? He committed the.
And these are the people we're dealing with, Uh, more people every day are turning coat, but guys, we're gonna need more than just an apology. You're gonna have to do some work, really do some research. Get smart, like educate yourself. Stop distracting yourself. Stop engaging in the broken ass system designed by pedophile, rapist, billionaire, cannibals. Um, maybe, maybe it should burn, and we can rebuild. Uh, I'm gonna let him finish.
He's
Yep. It's like you. It's like you get the big beautiful bill and that's it. And it wasn't beautiful. It was disgusting. It killed untold Americans. Untold Americans. It ended untold American lives. And they just sit there and they lap it up like dogs. It's so sad what this country is coming to. I just wanted to break this down a little bit, maybe make it, a little easier to understand for some folk. I really appreciate you tuning in. Let me know if you want more content like this. And I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.